Hello, this is Vexx, and welcome back to Tyranny. If you recall in our last video, we pretty much spent the whole time speaking with Verse. In speaking with her, we learned that she has the abilities of her fallen Scarlet Fury sisters. As I mentioned, there is a mechanic that I deliberately did not mention prior to discussing that. I'll quickly go over that with you guys before we continue on. You notice here we have battle stance, as we have Verse selected, obviously. If we click battle stance, she has these three abilities. The one that is currently selected is Red Geyser, which you may remember is one of the names of her three fallen sisters. What this does is gives her a minus 20 to dodge, however adds a bonus damage to your next attack equal to 50% of the damage recovered from attacks. It also lowers her dodge by 10. Bit of a double-edged sword. We probably won't be using this one much because, well, if we have Verse in our party, we're going to keep her with her bow. Over here, she has the stance of 3 Whispers. It gives her plus 20 dodge. Oh, there's flavor text, which I didn't read. For 3 Whispers, it says, enter a battle meditative stance that focuses on dodging enemy attacks. Well, in this stance, Unbound and Mocking Iron are also empowered. Those are 2 of her skills. Red Geyser says, fight aggressively, lowering parry and dodge defenses. Well, in this stance, a portion of all damage Verse takes will empower her next attacks. We already read that in the stance description. The final stance she has, at least for starting, is Seeking Sheath, which just raises her accuracy, which overall is pretty good in my opinion. The flavor text for this is focus on striking with precision. Well, in this stance, attacks become more accurate, and Skewer, Gravedigger, and Pig on a Spit abilities are empowered. Why don't we put her into this Seeking Sheath stance?
I see you there.
Oh, she even talks. Alright, now let's continue on with the actual game, as we only really spoke with facts. Oh, this is that Tarkus Deimos guy that we basically consigned to death. Let's go see what he has to say now. You there! Muttering through a mouthful of congealed blood, Tarkus Deimos hangs from his stake. End this, I beg of you. Now we could either just say, but you make a better warning to others while you're still twitching, which is rather gruesome, or we can just finish him, saying he's suffered enough. Well, we are in Kairos' army, and he would make a warning to others. As gruesome as it is, let's leave him twitching. Unable or unwilling to muster the strength to reply, the Oathbreaker turns away, wincing in pain. As you can see, they are literally hanging and dying slowly. Let's go see what's on this path to the side here before leaving this area. I believe there is a... Oh, look at that. There is a place we can climb. Oh, we have the athletics to climb up here. Let's see what we have up here. Oh, there's this chest here, but we don't have the subterfuge to unlock it. We may have to come back here at some point. I don't believe there is any huge loot there of monumental huge awesomeness. But, well, might as well come back. We can at least sell it for good good gear later. Alright, now, going out there, we see the map. This is going to end up being, well, this is the map of the first area of the game anyway. We have the Edgering Ruins, where we just came from, and now we have the disfavored camp. It's going to take us 2 hours and 45 minutes in game to go here. Thankfully, to do that, we just literally have to click on it. And it says, do we want to go there? It'll take 2 hours 45 minutes to go. Yes, we do. Now, in this first area, we have a few choices to make. Nothing huge. Oh, here we are. We are at the disfavored camp. If you remember what... I can't remember their name. The people at that Strongfast said this is where the Archons are and where we have to deliver that Edict. I wonder what's going on up here. Take what you can carry and leave the cart. Otherwise, we seize you and your gear. This is robbery. Well, let's see what these people have to say. Hail, Fatebinder. The disfavored scout nods you at your approach. Camp's up on ahead. Don't mind us. Just clearing out the rabble. The guy's name is Sterling Hington. I don't understand what I've done to offend. I respect that these are now disfavored lands, and I'm happy to give the Legion a proper toll, but she's going on about trading rates. What nonsense is that? I am not allowed to trade one thing for another. It's not like I am selling weapons to angry peasants or anything of the sort. Now we have 3 choices here. We can say that you're on disfavored land. These warriors have every right to kill you. You should be more thankful, and they're even listening to you speak. Or the Overlord regulates all trade. If you lack the proper permits, your goods are forfeit. This is none of my concern. Carry on. Well, I don't think that's probably the best choice. Well, this is Kairos' land, so let's tell him as such. A trade permit? Well, how was I mean, who would I speak to for such a thing? Not us, and not our problem. Maybe march your butt to the bastard city and plead your case before Tunon. But we'll lighten your burden to relieve you of your wares first. That should make the long trek back a bit more bearable. Now again, we can say about that he's on disfavored lands. He better make a strong argument on why we should help him. Or maybe we can say that anything argued before Tuna can be argued before me, as we are a Fatebinder. Judge, jury, and sometimes executioner in the field. That's us. Oh, we lost favor with the disfavored. What's there to discuss? We should kill this mongrel. This mongrel and... The warrior pauses, placing her hand in front of her mouth. Oh, she forgot who she's talking to. If the Fatebinder wishes to weigh in on the matter, courtesy demands we listen. The soldier clears her throat, looking at you expectingly. This is a disfavored matter, but I know the agents of the court do so love to throw their judgments around. Oh, that's a bit of a gutsy thing to say. Now, the trader then goes to say, well, you could rob me now and have my supplies today. The merchant grabs a flask from his cart. Or you can leave me alive and have fermented honey all year long. I even know a few family recipes for painkillers and healing droughts. Certainly any army will need those. He uncorks a small ceramic vial, and the aroma of cloves and lanolin assaults your nose. We could use some of our... Oh, I'll get there in a second. You can say, these are essential goods for the war effort. We should leave supplies intact. We can try to lie using our subterfuge and say, curious, I was just hearing about a supply caravan of regents going missing. Or we can use our lore. What a coincidence. Your family recipe for wound paste smells just like a Scarlet Fury Like the Scarlet Fury's own concoction. Where did you steal this? As you can see, we have a Lawbreaker choice, which we can't do. We have a Hunter choice we can't do. And finally, if the disfavored have reasons to question these items, I shall trust in their judgment. Well, let's use our lore here. As you see, we gain some lore experience. The merchant tenses up, his face flushing red. I don't know what you're getting at. We could use our athletics to pick him up by the collar. How stupid do you think I am? We can talk to this favor and say he needs a little roughing up. We can also say to this favored, you are right, kill this liar and share his proceeds with the Legion. Well, I think those last two are probably a little extreme. Why don't we take matters into our own hands and lift him up? How stupid do you think I am? Gain athletics experience. Slow down, I'll tell you everything. Just don't hurt me. I found most everything out in the forests of the valley. I'd keep my head low when I heard the sounds of combat. Then I'd take a look and grab whatever wasn't claimed by the first victors. So you'd stole from the disfavored dead? How else did you get your hands on that iron? Scout points to the merchant's cart. You'd come here and sell us our own armaments? If anything has an owner, I will return it. But this iron would have turned to rust if left in the mud on the battlefield. The disfavored are few in number. Is that not right? You need a man like me to gather up supplies that would otherwise go to waste. Now we have a few choices here as expected. You may trade your wares freely, but lie again and I'll have you killed. Or the disfavored will tolerate your presence, but you will pay them handsomely for such charity. Leave this cart as a gift for Graven Ash, then leave and never come back. You stole from the Archons and then wish to sell it back? Your life ends here. Now, if we choose the second one, we should have access to another merchant. So, I think we will do that. We will? The disfavored soldier clears her throat with a cough before repeating herself in a more upbeat manner. Oh, we will. Yeah. It sickens me to make exceptions for this vulture, but if you will supply this disfavored with profit, perhaps this indiscretion is for the best. It's not like our larders are overflowing. A work slave to scourge provisions would be an asset. Oh, we gain favor with Lethian's Crossing. That's good. Thank you for interceding on my behalf. I know my life will now depend on showing the disfavored due gratitude for suffering my presence. If I must grovel a bit to earn my daily grain, so be it. Alright, and now these disfavored go off out on their own. Now there we are, there's my pointer. Oh, no, we can't unlock that either. Well,
I got it.
Let's continue. Oh, Verse wants to talk. Slow down a moment. I know we're both eager to watch the Archons bicker over tactics like a pair of mongrels. Pair of magpies. But I need to ask you something first. What's that, Verse? The voices in the rot told me you've come as a mediator. Considering the source, well, I can't help but feel I'm only hearing half the story. So, let's have it. What's so special about you? Well, we can use our lore to... We could tell her about the Edict. We can use our lore to lie. That's a little odd. We can say, I have nothing to tell you. Why so suspicious? What else has the voices in the rot told you? Actually, I like that one the best so far. Or we can again ask her if she's been sent to spy on us. This one might be a little more forthcoming than the last time. But let's see what else she's been told. Only that I could find you in the Edgering ruins. Truthfully, I could have picked you out of a crowd. You're the only one of us who hasn't spent the last few months bathing in the stink of the Mittani River. Laughs, but there's a forced nature to it. The Matani River is a major river in this area. Well, let's see if we can get a more favorable response to asking if she's been sent as a spy. Oh, we gain loyalty and subterfuge. Subterfuge. At a loss for words, Verse regards you with a momentary unease. Well, are you even surprised? He's the Archon of Secrets. Knowing in advance is his business. So is snatching up any advantage over Graven Ash. Those two compete like a couple of new recruits for a spot around the fire. It's nothing nefarious. The Voices is just curious why you're here. If you wanted to know more, you wouldn't be able to suss it out that easily. He would have sent one of his scryer peons in my stead. Scryer peons? I wonder what those guys are. Let's ask her why she's so suspicious. I just got that feeling. When the Archons are together, the air gets as taut as a bowstring. I can't help but think no amount of compromise will get them seeing eye to eye. So, why invite a mediator from Tunon's court? Doesn't add up. Well, why don't we be honest with her if she's going to be traveling with us? Oh, we gained some loyalty from that. That makes a crazy kind of sense, considering how long the siege has taxed the armies. I can understand why Kairos would send you with an edict to speed things along. Have you read it? Do you know what it says? We can either flat out say no, or we can tell her what we know, which hasn't been discussed in game yet, but what it is the Archons must claim Ascension Hall, which is the traditional throne room of the Queens of Apex. Throne stands directly beneath, the mountain spire in the central citadel in the Valley of Veterans Wall by Kairos' Day of Swords, or we will all perish. Now, Day of Swords is the 26th of every month or span. It is Kairos' day. It is a day. It is a day of holiday and rest for all within the Overlord's empire. Each Kairos day is the last day of its span and is referred to by the span's name. Kairos' Day of Swords, therefore, is the 26th day of the span of swords. Ooh, that doesn't sound too pleasant. Wonder how long that is. Now we've gained more loyalty. One more thing for the Archons to fight for. Well, thanks for cluing me in. If Kairos sends any lightning our way, well, just tell me where to duck. Well, I really ought to be meeting with the Archons. The war tent is in the center of camp. She nods towards the northeast. One last thing. Be careful around those disfavored types. They take their work seriously, and most have suffered too many blows to the head. Well, they seem to be encased in iron. Oh, look at that. We got a reputation ability from Verse. Not Vex, Verse. Let's see. Now, here's our reputation, which I did not go over. As you see, we got all these different factions. Each of the factions have 2 skills which you get from Favor and Wrath. For the Scarlet Chorus, for instance, you get the passive Merciless skill at 3 Favor, and at 5 Favor you get a Visage of Terror skill. Now we just got one for... before I go to that, you'll notice here we have the things about why they either like or hate us. It's not going to list all of them, but a fair bit of them. Let's go to see Verse. It's got a little bit of talking about our companion here. We also have her fear skill. Anyway, for Verse it says she is a tearsman hardened by conflict. Verse elevated in the ranks of the Scarlet Chorus by killing her superiors, sleeping with one eye open, and never drinking from the same canteen twice. Well, from what we know about the Scarlet Chorus, that's probably smart. We gain large loyalty bonuses, 2 of them, by her being pleased by her feisty, chaotic interactions. Oh, and because we caught on to her being a spy, and she was elated by our feisty, chaotic inclinations. So sounds like we got 4 of them total. We gained fear, 4 of them, because she was appalled by our orderly ways. She certainly seems interesting, and not impressed by her display of weakness. I wonder what one that is. Anyway, let's get... Actually, what is this one? It's got a little... Oh, this is our journal. It's our quest log and all that. Alright. Well, let's talk to this stone shield. Well, look at you. Our great gate crasher from the court. Still in one piece. This gate crasher from the court is from us, from the conquest decision of us fighting with the disfavored at the gates of judgment. The guard pounds his chest in salute. Welcome to the disfavored camp. Always happy to have an honored ally pay us a visit. Well, let's play nice and salute them. Graven Ash protects. We gain favor with them. That he does. The warrior nods in approval, then taps twice on the gate to signal your arrival. Be well, Fatebinder. Glory to Kairos. Alright. We've updated the Conqueror's Will. Now, I'm not going to explore the disfavored camp in this video. We're going to go straight and talk... Oh,
I'd say that's worth a second glance.
Oh, looks like Verse found something over here. Now when an item or crate is purple, means we found a hidden area. Before we head in, why don't we see what is in here? Oh, just a bunch of trash loot. We can grab that and sell it later. Now in this tent is where the Archons are, which this guy mentioned, just as first noted, the hidden treasure, I guess you could say. Let's head on in. Oh, they're yelling at each other. Yesterday, you chided me for wishing to wait. Now you suggest we delay even longer? Perhaps the voices in your skull ought to come to consensus if you wish to be taken seriously. Good advice is flexible, changing with the moment. Besides, oh, sorry, this is going too fast for me to read. I'm a bit slow. Well, why don't we take a step forward?
That's 4 reports of avalanches in the mountains now. The Tearsmen can barely count past 9. They have neither the capacity nor the cause to close off the mountain passes. Either way, that leaves the 2nd and 4th cohort trapped outside the valley.
This is Graven Ash. The Archon of War pounds his staff on the ground to punctuate his words. A large and imposing man to begin with. His profile is made larger still by his hulking suit of armor that hums with mystic energy. Well, he definitely looks important. So does this guy. Wonder who he is.
Or it's the work of your perfidious Earthshakers. Only a fool would not suspect a traitorous Archon of poisoning the mind of his students with sedition. We would have killed the Earthshakers Guild for their master's treachery, but I'm sure you have some perfectly valid reason for allowing them to live as your pawns.
The Earthshakers actually follow an Archon that is under Graven Ash, Karn. You kind of heard about him briefly, but not much about him. This is obviously the Voices of Narot. The Archon of Secrets passes the scepter between his hands as he speaks, twirling the rod in hypnotic circles. Oh, what does this say? You hear the voices in your head. Well, hello there, Fatebinder. We'll be with you in just a moment. Oh, that's unsettling too. He's talking to our mind. Emerald luminescence seeps from the seams of the Archon's ragged red robes. The glow is most noticeable where his neck ought to be. His mask seems to float and spin, never pivoting or bending naturally. Ooh.
Hey, watch yourself. When these two get going, you don't want to get between them.
Verse whispers fearfully as she beholds the Archons. Yeah, it kind of seems that way, doesn't it? Let's remain silent for the moment.
I always know you've run out of things to say when you resort to mocking my vassals. If we are to speak of treachery, why is it that my scouts see the Scarlet Chorus warriors defecting back to the Vendrian Guard? Your fearsome reputation has gone flaccid, for it seems you cannot control your soldiers, or perhaps you simply choose not to.
Oh, these two get along like cats and dogs, don't they? This guy, Iron Marshal Irenaeus, I probably butchered that. My lords, the Fatebinder has arrived. The disfavored commander raises her voice, her, trying with little success to speak over the Archons. Perhaps we could table this discussion and let our guest speak.
Speaking of strategic failures, who was it that insisted the valley would need only a token garrison? For some strange reason, we can't seem to recall which balding halfwit grossly underestimated the enemy. Thoughts?
Oh, these two could become to blows at any time. The Archon of Secrets twirls his scepter in a twisting loop. Again we hear his voice in our head. Can you hear us, Fatebinder? Cough if we have your attention. His leather-wrapped hands flipping the heavy rod with an effortless flow. Well, we do hear them, so why don't we cough?
And I thought you had left agents within these Tearsmen when they surrendered. Either you failed to see this coming, or you knew and let it happen. Incompetent or in cahoots, either way, this mess has your filthy stink all over it.
The Archon of War lurches forward, resting his full weight on his war maul, as blue luminescence crackles through his armor. Oh, if you look at his picture here, it looks like he has a big glowy ball for a chest.
We look forward to seeing you explain to Tunon why the Archon of War could not close the vice on this trivial little insurgency. When we are crowned the ruler of the Tears, we shall have this place renamed to Ash's Folly in your honor.
Oh, these guys. The voices of Narot tosses his scepter into the air. Oh, what's he saying this time? Good. Now pay attention. You might miss something. Catching it as it descends back down. Well, what did he say again? Pay attention. Well, why don't we just keep listening? Maybe they'll give us some useful information.
If I could trust the information I get from you and your conscripted mouth breathers, perhaps I'd order my cohorts around a bit more aggressively. But last time I trusted your all-clear report, my troops failed to come home.
Oh, Ash, old boy. If you're going to have a little sob every time one of your nieces or nephews dies to the Tearsmen, perhaps we should have Siren sing you some calming lullabies to help you cope with your grief.
Siren, we know that person. Siren, the Archon of Song, and the youngest Archon sent to conquer the Tears. Young and inexperienced, Siren is sworn to the voices of Narot, who uses her powers to charm and manipulation to swell the ranks of the Scarlet Chorus with volunteers. Well, she certainly sounds interesting, and we did have some dealings with her during the conquest, if you remember. The Archon flips his scepter 3 times around, humming gleefully, and this time he says, you hear the voices in your head, take care that you don't learn too much, Fatebinder. An excess of knowledge, of curiosity even, can earn unwanted attention. The Iron Marshals Goat, hold your tongue. I will not have you deingrate the honor of our fallen brethren. The commander's hand moves to the hilt of her blade, though the weapon stays sheathed. I'd be doing us all a favor if I cracked open that excuse for a head. Oh, and the fifth eye. Oh, I remember Verse mentioning this fifth eye person. They bicker like children, do they not? The fifth eye gathering tenure. The fifth eye's grating tenure pierces the tension of the tent, and all eyes lands on the crimson spear. I only meant to say welcome. Welcome to our guest, the Fatebinder. The armored retainer bows with rushed inelegance, then rises to a salute. And not a moment too soon. Oh, we gain favor with Graven Ash and the disfavored. Governor Vexx, long have we been honored by your iron. Now we are honored by your presence. I must apologize for my lord's tempers run high of late. Oh, this was the Iron Marshal. Well, we don't have this diplomatic option because we were never a diplomat. Our past wasn't a diplomat. We can glare silently or just bow to them and apologize for our sudden entrance. I've traveled long to be here. Why don't we do that?
Ah, the fire starter has arrived. Welcome, welcome. Our agents tell us such lovely stories of what you did at the Vellum Citadel. Have you come bearing another fragment of Kairos' wrath in tow?
You noticed we gained favor with both Archons and both armies, which is neat. And he called us the fire starter, as is kind of what we've been called since we read the Edict, which sent the burning library on fire. Well, created it into the burning library, I suppose.
My soldiers tell me you helped Commander Drotus on your way through Edring. You honor the court with your selfless cooperation, for that is the sort of camaraderie that Kairos demands of us all.
Remember how we saved the commander? It's either that or our agreeing to kill that Tearsman guy. One of the last words, on the last of his words, the Archon of War glares at the voices of Narat, furrowing his brow as he utters the words camaraderie. I require no thanks for doing my sworn duty. I come bearing an edict of Kairos. Are you all done bickering? I have an edict to proclaim. I have a feeling this is just going to anger them both. So, well, do we require any thanks, or should we just get to the point? Let's just get to the point.
Once again, you bring us support in a time of need. We fondly remember your service to the chorus in the taking of the bastard city. We knew back then you were destined for great things. But we had not anticipated you would be twice honored with the task of proclamation. So, do not keep us waiting. What is the Overlord's will?
Alright, what the voices of Narad is mentioning by the service to the chorus is how we worked with the chorus at the end of the first major battle, where we set fire to the city, which is why we have access to the fire spell now. Now we have three separate ways of telling them the edict. We could say the Overlord's loyal servants must hold Ascension's Hall by Kairos' Day of Swords, or all will perish. It seems you need some encouragement to work together. Kairos' edict will end the lives of everyone in the valley unless the Ascension Hall is claimed by us. In honor of your incompetence and disarray, the edict will execute every living thing in this valley unless the Ascension Hall is taken. Well, 2 and 3 is definitely bound to anger one or both of them. So let's just go with 1. The earth sways with each word you utter, the air thickening with warmth as you pronounce the terserly, I can't pronounce that word, phrase commandment. It's every syllable drafted by the hands of Kairos. With the edict proclaimed, your pulse quickens and the muscles in your legs, worn from a long trip down the mountains, feel renewed. The tired limbs now nearly buoyant with vigor. Oh, look at that!
The Overlord means to compel us into action. No doubt the avalanches in the mountains are part of this ultimatum. We must conquer the Oathbreakers or die in failure. There is no room for error, and no other way out of this valley alive. We'll need to advance across the Mittani. We lose everything if we stand still. And we move to back up Plan Green. The Earthshakers didn't make it over the mountain in time. So we do this the hard way. Over the walls instead of through.
The Archon of War taps a finger against his temple. A low rumble escapes from under his beard.
So you found your backbone at last! Oh, we were worried past humiliations would make you soft, timid. That was a record for you, right? The baker's dozen lost in one sortie. If you had waited for the chorus reinforcements, maybe we'd have eyes and ears on the matter.
The Archon of Secrets passes his scepter from one hand to the next, chuckling softly with each toss. What do you say here? Oh, watch him squirm. So many tears over replaceable, expendable, useless soldiers. I miss the old Archon of War. You never see blood echo in a blibbering mess over a few dead killers. He'd use the knuckle bones of his best disciples for jewelry, and even made a breastplate out of one of his dead brothers. Oh, that is extra pleasant. Now we have a few things we can say. Bicker all you wish. We're wasting valuable time. Are you too daft? It's your indecision and bickering that necessitated this edict. Learn to work together or we're all doomed. We can remain silent, or we can use our subterfuge to say, they call you the Archon of Secrets, but you certainly don't seem to know anything remotely useful. Well, that is definitely gonna anger the voices now, isn't it? Why don't we just remain silent for the moment?
You make it sound like you've been putting even the slightest effort into getting a foothold across the Mittani, when all you've done is set your gangs to uncoordinated raids. You're the Archon of Secrets. Why is it you still don't know the enemy's full strength and capabilities? Maybe you know, and choose not to share.
Well, with the exception of Ash's last line, that kind of sums up the subterfuge choice that we chose not to pick.
Look, if you're afraid to send more troops against the Oathbreakers, just admit that you're a coward and allow us to take charge of the situation. The Scarlet Chorus will be happy to prove it can do what the disfavored cannot.
Oh, that is practically fighting words. We should tell them to learn to work together, or we're all dead.
The Fatebinder is right. We're acting not as leaders, but as children. I've no time for your foolish japes and petty taunts. We should focus on the objective at hand, and that is taking the Mittani River, and then advancing to Ascension Hall and ending this edict.
As you saw, we lost favor with the voices of Narat there, but gained some with Ash. Now we could speak. We can say, that's enough talking, there's work to be done. Our lives hang in the balance because you two bicker like children. Now go, solve this problem you've started. No more sitting idle. I expect that as favored to be on the march at once. Voices of Narat, I trust you are done acting like the clown, and will have the horde ready to march with all haste. Well, these last two are definitely going to piss off either one that we're talking to. The second one is bound to anger them both. Let's just say there's work to be done. Oh, Iron Marshal says, My lord, Barrack and his band have been drilled on the Echo Hall assault plan. The Crescent Runners should be briefing him as we speak regarding the latest enemy movements along the river. I will dispatch him at once. The Iron Marshal salutes, clasping her gauntlet to her breastplate. Well, who's this Barrack guy? Though you know him only by name, Barrack is a commander of the Stone Shields and well regarded by the disfavored High Command. Well, that certainly doesn't tell us much. Fifth Eye. And I will ensure the chorus stands ready to march. If the disfavored can take the river, the chorus has the manpower to secure the outer ring of the valley.
Our soldiers clamor for battle, and at last we shall have it. Verse, we command you to continue guarding the Fatebinder. Tunon's Chosen is our honored guest, and must be shown our finest hospitality.
Well, isn't that nice of the voices? And very worrying. Simply because I don't think this Voices in Arot is the charitable kind.
I won't let you down, boss. He'll get through the campaign in one piece, as long as he doesn't do anything too stupid.
Well, that's kind of a vote of confidence, I guess. Well, she does have our banner and not the Scarlet Chorus banner under her portrait, so I guess she's stuck with us. Or are we stuck with her? Either way, she seemed pretty good in battle. The Archon twirls his scepter one last time, then taps the fifth eye on the shoulder, and the two depart. What is he saying? Suit yourself, Fatebinder. The more you ignore us. What? We weren't ignoring him. I don't think we were. Alright, now. The Scarlet Chorus boss leaves.
The fool and his puppet are gone. Perhaps now I can hear myself think. Rarely do I question Kairos' judgment, but I will never understand why the Voices of Narot is given such authority. I shudder to think what will become of us all should Tunon favor him in the end.
Well, the Voices in Narot sounds like he's good at his job, at least. It's probably why he's tolerated and given any authority.
Though the Edict threatens the Scarlet Chorus just as it threatens us, I cannot shake the feeling that our allies will work against us.
Well, that could be why the siege is still ongoing. Neither army seems to trust the other.
You've shown your worth in war, and your name has been known to the Legion since the very beginning of this long conquest. So I'd ask that you join us this one last time, to help us wrap up this last objective. If you wish to be counted amongst the glorious, speak with the Iron Marshal. She will direct the order of battle until we are ready for the final push into the Citadel.
I'm short of a few scouts, short of a few soldiers, short of a few everything. I'm sure my my brethren would be grateful for the assistance of a skilled outsider. And what of the Scarlet Chorus? How will they be helping?
I ask myself that question often. While we take the river crossing, the Scarlet Chorus should be using their sizable presence to remove the Oathbreaker patrols lurking in the outer valley.
The Oathbreakers have maintained a sizable force outside the Citadel. We need the Chorus's manpower to scour the region. Otherwise, the Oathbreakers will attack at our heels once we cross the Matani. Well, we'd be honored to help. We gained his favor with the disfavored. The Iron Marshal salutes Graven Ash, then turns to leave the tent. I will be at the training grounds, readying the soldiers. Find me there when you are ready. She pauses, clearing her throat, and though I'm loath to mention it, the chorus can likely use your assistance. They certainly won't secure the outer valley on their own. Fifth Eye will be somewhere in that rat's nest of a camp. Due east. Seek him out, if you must. Alright, now, at this point, I'm going to put an end to the video. But I will just mention one thing. If you notice up here, there's 8 days to Kairos' Day of Swords, which means we have 8 in-game days to do this part. as I mentioned, I will end the video here as we've been going for 3/4 of an hour now. This game may end up with a few longer videos like this, or longer, as the first video was. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you guys have a great day.